Citi News.
It's midday. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News. We are coming to you live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabakakra. My name is Ajua Tenkramadom, and coming up this afternoon, Vice President Dr. Baumia's stance on LGBT draws varied reactions. Political science lecturer says demands for Dr. Baumia to influence the president on assenting to the anti-gay bill are unfair.
Highly unfair to now want to put all the burden on one person who just happened to be the vice president, that by virtue of that position.
Also coming up, anti-corruption crusader calls on the Office of the Special Prosecutor to release part of its investigations into alleged corruption at Ghana's Scholarship Secretariat.
The special prosecutor should always make his findings public so that even if no action is taken against the people that are found culpable, at least it will be made public that these people have contravened.
Still in this package, Economist renews calls for expenditure cuts as International Monetary Fund completes second review of its $3 billion program with Ghana.
You have to be deliberate about creating fiscal space through expenditure-based fiscal consolidation rather than revenue-based fiscal consolidation.
And later, battle lines drawn as all 9 aspirants in NPP's Ejiso parliamentary primary wrap up their campaign ahead of tomorrow's election.
I am here to continue the good works initiated by our former MP.
By this time, Saturday, you hear Helena Mensah is the winner.
Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for details of these and more stories in the next 30 minutes. Remember, the bulletin is also live on YouTube and around the globe on citinewsroom.com. Across the country, we are live on a number of affiliates. In the Western region, you can tune into Adrimpa 100.7 FM in Takwa Beach, 105.5 FM in Takrade, Sky Power 93.5 FM also in Takrade. In the Bono region, Greener FM 95.9 in Sunyang. In the Ashanti region, Focus 94.3 in Kumasi, Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. In the Volta region, this is Revival 99.3 FM in Tajewu, VOV Radio 95.7 in Hohoi. In the Northern region, you can tune in to Radio Bimbila 91.9 FM in the Upper East region, Quality 88.7 FM in Garu, and in the Upper West region to Song 97.3 FM in Wa and Jirapa 96.1 FM. Please stay for details.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
A very warm welcome to you this afternoon. We begin with some politics and a political science lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST, Dr. Mohammed Abbas, has rubbished assertions that Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's position against LGBTQ+ activities is a vote-garnering gimmick. The Vice President on Thursday during the Eid prayers in the Ashanti region categorically stated that he is opposed to LGBTQ+ practices. Speaking to Citi News, Dr. Abbas says although Dr. Bawumia is a politician, his position was declared based on his religion.
He is a politician and he's a flag bearer interested in garnering or getting more votes. There's no doubt about that. But as far as this position he has declared, and then the evidence he has brought to back it up, there is no any other evidence to directly accuse him that he has done this necessarily to actually win votes, because the basis he has given are very, very clear. At a point, one must declare his stance. And he decided to do that now, and he has given strong basis for that. So I think sometimes these are some of the things that we have to be very careful in order not to unnecessarily complicate and over-politicize issues.
Well, the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Bawumia, has been criticized, especially by members of the opposition NDC, on why he is not influencing the president to assent to the anti-LGBTQ plus bill. Addressing the subject, Dr. Abbas says it is unfair to demand that the vice president forces the president to sign the bill, as it may lead to a personality clash between him and the president.
We know very well, and many of us have worked under bosses. Bosses are people with their own personalities, strong convictions, their own individuality and capacities as far as yours is also concerned. And the fact that the person is your boss and you are close to him doesn't necessarily make you somebody who can influence that person. His closeness to the president is because he is the vice president, because it's a positional thing. I can tell you there is somebody who has even much more influence than the president, over the president, than even the vice president, even though he is the vice president. Okay, so once again, it is highly unfair to now want to put all the burden on one person who just happened to be the vice president, that by virtue of that position, he is the one who should persuade. In fact, I heard this on TV yesterday, TV3 News, and I thought, I was just shaking my head. I thought it's highly unfair. As far as we don't understand personalities, sometimes even a wife who is closer than a husband on certain issues cannot even influence that husband, and we know all of these things. Okay, so by virtue of just being a vice president, for people to think that if this is position, then clearly, in fact, we are even going to create conflicts here over personality clash.
That was Dr. Mohammed Abbas. He is a political science lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Away from the vice president on LGBT issues, anti-corruption campaigner Vital Zakzim has urged the office of the special prosecutor to release part of his investigations into activities at the scholarship secretariat. The OSP, in a response to a petition by a deputy youth organizer of the NDC to look into the operations of the secretariat, said it was already investigating the issue since July 2023. The scholarship secretariat has come under intense scrutiny for its activities following a recent investigative report by the Fourth Estate, which indicates that individuals aligned with influential politicians benefited from scholarship opportunities. And speaking to Citi News on the report, Vital Azim said, though he believes very little can be done by the OSP, it ought to tell Ghanaians the level of its investigations so far.
I cannot be sure. Some of us are very pessimistic about some of these activities, because it's only after the petition that we heard that they are investigating this thing altogether. No, but the information was not in the public domain. So why all of a sudden now they are telling the public that they are investigating? So that already raises some eyebrows, you see, and that's a concern of what will happen. And as you know, all previous investigations by the OSP, we haven't actually got the details of these things. It's a worry. I don't think that much can be done from this. Yes, see, because of the way these things go, at least the special prosecutor should always make his findings public, so that if no action is taken against the people that are found culpable, at least it will be made public that these people have contravened the laws. They have behaved inappropriately.
You heard Vital Azim. He is an anti-corruption crusader. Let's bring you some updates on Ghana's IMF program. And as the International Monetary Fund concludes its second review of the bailout program with Ghana, economist Professor Godfred Bokpin says the gains recorded could be moderated if the government does not embark on massive expenditure rationalization to sustain the economy. The mission staff's assessment ends today with issues concerning tax efficiency and the avoidance of fiscal slippages this year's election dominating discussions. The review also revolved around the disbursement of the third tranche of $360 million under the credit facility. However, economist Professor Bokpin tells Citi News the country is still not out of the woods.
If you look at the IMF supported program, the macro gain will be financed more from revenue enhancement rather than expenditure restraint. And I'm not surprised where we are, because 2.5 years ago, we had indicated that the way out was not only just increasing revenue generation, that government needed to take the drastic, bold decision to cut wasteful expenditure, merge some ministries, get some ministers out of the way. Not only that, extend that reforms to state-owned enterprises. You have to be deliberate about creating fiscal space through expenditure-based fiscal consolidation rather than revenue-based fiscal consolidation. But government working with the IMF chose a fiscal consolidation that is heavily reliant on revenue enhancement measures rather than wasteful expenditure cuts. When it happens that way, the gains that you make from there, it will get to a point and it will be very difficult to drag it down further. That is where we are.
Professor Godfred Bokpin is an economist. Away from that, the leader of the Movement for Change and former Minister for Trade and Industry, Alan Chemating, has pledged to establish a dedicated task force to rigorously enforce the laws regulating foreign involvement in local trade if voted for in the upcoming polls. Ghanaian retailers have over the years complained about foreigners, including Chinese and Nigerians, invading the retail sector. Now, in some instances, shops belonging to foreigners in retail were closed down by the Ghana Union of Traders Association (GUTA) over delays by the government to stop them from establishing retail businesses. During an engagement with GUTA, Alan Chemating promised to protect local businesses. Here's the president of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obin, speaking to City News after the engagement.
Yeah, the engagement was very fruitful, and as you know, regarding trade, our major concerns are excessive cost of doing business and that of influx of foreigners in the retail space. And so he agreed with us most of the problems that we itemized and forwarded to them. But in the case of the influx of retail foreigners in the retail trade, because he chaired the task force already in place, he's well versed with it, and he said that he's going to make sure that we enforce the laws of the land.
Were you able to find out from him why he couldn't do so as a former Minister of Trade and Industry, since this is not an issue that we are experiencing for the first time, actually?
And so what has been the answer has been that the problem had always been with Ghanaians ourselves, and that whenever we've done the task force, the locals themselves go and front for these foreigners, assuming the ownership of the place, and those things have been given as problems. But going forward, you are going to also make those people equal corporates, because they don't have the capacity to employ foreigners. Yeah, our market is being taken over. Look at China Mall and Chinatown. These two Chinese giants have taken about 40% of our market share.
President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obin. Now, the National Association of Institutional Suppliers says its members have begun receiving payment of arrears owed them by the government. The association held a two-day protest on Monday to demand arrears of over 100 million cedis. However, the group called off their protest following discussions with the Minister for Education, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum. Public Relations Officer for the association, Emmanuel Ivo, speaking to City News, says a final meeting will be held at the Education Ministry on Monday following assurances that all outstanding arrears would be settled.
The ministry, as they promised the association, as we speak, they've started paying. Since Wednesday, a number of suppliers have indicated that they've been called to come for their checks. But per the agreement, they said they will pay up to 2022. That is not all part of them will be paid. So they asked us to meet them on coming Monday to actually find out the balance. So as we speak, they are paying and members are going in for their checks. But it will be Monday will be when we'll be able to know and assess the extent of payments. It's very positive, and quite a number of suppliers too are expecting that they'll be called. So by Monday, we'll be able to assess the extent of payment, and members will start working.
Emmanuel Ivor is the Public Relations Officer for the National Association of Institutional Suppliers. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News, broadcasting live from our studio in Adabraka, Accra. When we return, the battle lines have been drawn as all 9 aspirants in the NPP's Ejiso Parliamentary Primary wrap up their campaign. We'll tell you more shortly. Please stay.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Citi TV is live on DSTV, GoTV, and HD+. On DSTV, find us on channel 363. On GoTV, we're on channel 117, and on HD+, get us on channel 108. On a digital TV, run a new search, but take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV. Citi TV can be accessed on any free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and HD+ boxes. Citi TV, it's your world.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Welcome again. Let's take you to the Ashanti region now. All 9 aspirants contesting in the New Patriotic Party's parliamentary primary in the Ejiso constituency in that region have wrapped up their campaign activities ahead of the poll on Saturday. The Electoral Commission has scheduled April 30 for the by-election in the area to replace John Kuma, the Member of Parliament for the constituency who died last month. While the opposition National Democratic Congress is yet to decide on whether to contest the by-election, the NPP is conducting a primary tomorrow to choose a candidate. Our Ashanti regional correspondent Hafiz Tijani has more details in this report.
After the New Patriotic Party vetted and placed all 9 aspirants in respective positions on the ballot, there have been intensive campaign activities. A total of 1,081 delegates are expected to vote in Saturday primary, and aspirants are making frantic efforts to engage, if not all, but the majority of them. Former president of the Ghana Football Association, Kwesi Nyantakyi, says the feedback from the delegates has been positive as he talks about his vision for the constituency when giving the nod.
My motto for this election is Ejusum Puntu Ntuaso, meaning I am here to continue the good works initiated by our former MP. That's the first point. The second point is that I also intend to introduce many initiatives that will add value to the lives of the people.
He admits that past issues he was embroiled in during his days at the Ghana Football Association cannot be overlooked, but said he remains focused going into the contest.
I remain focused on what I'm pursuing.
Helena Mensah, the presiding member for the Ejiso Municipal Assembly, has been preaching women and youth empowerment to the delegates and is convinced her messages are hitting the right chords.
The chances is very clear. You can see that the winning is coming, but I'm still working on it. By this time, Saturday, you hear Helena Mensah is the winner.
A former assembly member for the Onwe electoral area, Klinsman Kakari Mensah, the youngest of the 9 aspirants, insists he has served the constituency and should be given the chance.
This community is the community where the MP was staying, and the next town is where the MP is from, or his hometown, the late Dr. John Ampuntua Kuma. I've been with him, worked with him, and I have studied a lot from him. So when he was the member of parliament, I was also the member of assembly member in this electoral area.
Aaron Prince Dua, a former assembly member for the Esenimpon electoral area, is asking delegates to choose wisely and says most of the aspirants are new faces taking advantage of the situation at hand.
I've been an electoral area coordinator for 4 years. I'm part of the regional communication team. I've been with the party. All the activities of the party, you will see me. So when I saw those who are popping up, and I said, how and why? All these names. We haven't seen them doing any party activities in Ejuso here. But now they are in. So why should we sit down, fold arms, and allow them as if we don't have anybody from this constituency?
Dr. Evans Dua, a lecturer at Akentin Apiaminka University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development, who calls the late Ejuso MP his friend and brother, says he's winning with a huge margin.
The mission I have is Ejuso Dachi in Tuaso. When my friend and my brother was actually coming, he had Ejuso Dachi Mrenie, which he wanted to tell the people that the things that we are hoping for, what we are doing today is bringing us that hope, and for that reason, we should have it now. And I'm saying that all the hope he gave them and every aspirations and desires that he made it look possible for them, we would come and will continue with that particular one.
The second vice chairman for the constituency, Kobna Boatin, speaks about his touch with the delegates and maintains he should be chosen.
Looking at the work I have done, how I have lived with the people, how I have, contributed my quota to the party and Ejuso generally, together with the fact that the balloting I had won, I think there's some divinity, orchestrating or inclining, in my favor.
The wife of Bunu Regional Chairman of MPP, Abrunya DC, Portia Echampong Abrunya, says she is determined to lead.
I'm determined and capable. I want to take care of my people. So I think I am well and able to do the needful.
Abina Pokuya Amwa, popularly called Ejuso Bruni, is not giving up after contesting the party's primary for the 5th time.
What keeps me running is the fact that I know that the people, they still love me. Even when I lose. When I even lose, I come back and they still come to me.
Mamia Abwaji, a downstream consultant in the petroleum industry, contested the by-election at Ayawaso West Wagon, and she's eyeing the Ejuso seat this time around.
Okay, what I'm bringing on board is unity. Because unity has always been my hallmark. This is not the first time I've contested an election. And when it wasn't successful, that was in Ayawaso, I didn't neglect the delegates.
Banners and posters of these 9 aspirants are everywhere in communities within the Ejuso constituency as the aspirants make a final push in meeting delegates to sell their messages to them. Whichever be the case, one of these aspirants will lead in the Saturday's primary. Hafiz Tijani, Citi News, Ejuso, Ashanti region.
Still in the New Patriotic Party, the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, is optimistic flag bearer Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia will win the December polls. Nana Akufo-Addo says Dr. Bawumia will help improve the lives of Ghanaians, especially those in the Zongo communities. Speaking at this year's Eid celebrations, President Akufo-Addo says Dr. Bawumia is in a position to take over from him.
Fortunately, the Vice President, Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia, is the elected flag bearer of my party, the New Patriotic Party. Indeed, the first of the Muslim faith to occupy that important position, and is in pole position by the grace of and benediction of Almighty Allah to take over from me on 7th January 2025, inshallah. As a Muslim, I have no doubt that he will continue to work with you to enhance the benefits of the fund for the development of Zongo communities. I have no doubt that I have been an inclusive president. I plead with you to uphold this principle of inclusivity for the equitable development of our country.
You heard President Akufo-Addo. Away from that, a 24-year-old Mason and self-proclaimed fetish priest Emmanuel Frimpong has been remanded into police custody by the Kwadaso Circuit Court for allegedly disseminating false information about VIP Company Limited's operations. He was arrested after a video he made went viral on social media. In that video, he falsely claimed that the company's drivers were required to undergo a ritual involving being buried alive in a casket before being allowed to operate the company's buses. The National Investigation Bureau, in collaboration with the police, tracked down, arrested an accused and put him before the Kwadaso Circuit Court, and he is scheduled to reappear in court on April 26, 2024. After the court proceedings, VIP Company Limited's General Manager Adakabre Frimpong Manson warned that the company will pursue legal action against anyone whose actions threaten its reputation.
This is just a specific case that has gone to court today, for which we are grateful to the court for the remand and then a caution to the police to investigate thoroughly for the court to decide the way forward. In recent times, people go on social media and make serious allegations against VIP, which are misleading, which are untrue, which are somewhat exaggerated. And VIP does not have the requisite response on the same platform that people are making such claims against the company. So I am directed by the resolution of VIP directors as the general manager to warn the general public through your esteemed media to desist. VIP is a law-abiding company. VIP is an ethical company. VIP would accept objective criticisms of our operations, for which we would improve upon it. But VIP would not countenance and accept any unsubstantiated allegations, any exaggerated allegations against the company for which it impacts negatively on our operations. So that is the first point we want to bring to the notice of the general public through your esteemed media.
You heard VIP Company Limited's General Manager Adakabre Frimpong Manson, who stay in the Ashanti region because a pregnant woman who was shot at Edinkra Krom near Asante Akim North District in the region has died at the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital, where she was receiving treatment. The Assembly member for the Magida electoral area, Selassie Jackson, who confirmed the news, also indicated that she lost her unborn child due to the gunshot wounds she sustained. Speaking to City News, Selassie Jackson said the police are yet to make any arrest.
Yeah, it was 3 days today. One of my unit committee members came to me around 3 o'clock in the morning. There's some incident that happened at Nkakrum. There's a girl called Amma. She's pregnant for about 7 months. Now, they were sleeping in the room with the husband and other people. There were about 6 people. Before they realized that there was some gunshot. Then the unit committee member heard the shot and then ran to that place. And the girl was lying on the floor. Then they tried to ask her, but he couldn't say what actually happened to her. But they realized that the intestines were outside. And then the hand was broken. So they have to rush her to Agogo Hospital. So I accompanied them to the police station, and then we went to the hospital. Then the child was removed, but the child could not survive. Then they have to operate her. They operated her, but it couldn't successful. So they have to rush her to Konfanoche at Kumasi. So it was yesterday in around 11 to 12 that I heard the news that he said.
That was the Assembly member for the Majida electoral area, Selassie Jackson, who stay a while longer in the Ashanti region because the Assembly member for the Atwedia electoral area in the Asante Akim South municipality of the region, Patrick Kakari-Entry, is calling on the Inspector General of Police and other relevant authorities to swiftly implement effective measures to address the rising crime rate in the area. The call follows a concerning surge in reported robbery cases over the past few months along the Atwedia Highway, causing heightened anxiety and insecurity among residents. Speaking in an interview with City News, Assembly member for the area, Patrick Kakari-Entry, elaborated further on the issue.
there has been a rampant and frequent armed robbery on our highway. To be specific, on the highway of Asante-Achimachibie. And it has occurred last month. And as an assembly member elected, my first People's Assembly, I made mention of this robbery case. For that matter, out of that, I have seen no sign. And just recent Sunday, a serious armed robbery activity or operations appeared at our place. It has left some kind of shaking to our people. Fear, they are panicking. And when you are living in a community with such a state, I believe it does not augur well for us. And for that matter, I'm using my office as an assembly member for Asante-Achimachibie to call on the IGP, Mr. Dampare, to look up to some of these situations for us. Secondly, our area is a farming and also a business community. I should put it in that way. And business people have also been passing through our highway. And now it is going to reduce some kind of people having an interest to come to my community or on that particular highway to fetch out their revenue and other stuff.
Assembly member for the Atwedia electoral area, Patrick Kakari, entry ending City News at 12. For more news, please log on to citynewsroom.com. My name is Adjoa Tinkrama. Domna, thank you so much for listening. Have a good afternoon.
City News, we speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302-224959 and get interactive on Facebook, City 97.3 FM, and on Twitter at City 973.